Hey, welcome. So, have you ever heard that there's an election happening? But it's not the big one, not the main event. It's just a special one-off vote for a single seat. Well, that's a by-election. And on the surface, it seems like a simple fix in our democracy. But trust me, underneath, there's a really fascinating and kind of complex puzzle. So today, let's piece this thing together.
And that whole puzzle really just boils down to one big question. When you get called back to the voting booth between the main elections, is it because democracy is working as it should? Or are you just a piece in a much bigger political game? Let's dig in and find out.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the ideal scenario. In a perfect world, what is a by-election even for? We need to lay the groundwork for how this whole process is supposed to work.
Right, so the official definition is pretty straightforward. A seat becomes empty for some reason, and it needs to be filled. Simple as that. It's basically a democratic safety net, making sure your community is never left without representation for too long. It's a really vital tool to keep the whole system running smoothly.
But, and this is a big but, here's where things start to get a little murky. What happens when this essential tool is used for something other than its real purpose? Suddenly, we're not talking about a simple correction anymore. We're talking about the possibility of outright manipulation.
And this really shows you the two sides of the coin. Over on her left, you've got the genuine, totally unavoidable reasons a seat might become vacant. These are the moments when a by-election works exactly like it's designed to. But then, look at the right column. These are strategic plays, a politician resigning just to join a rival party, or a calculated defection designed to completely shift the balance of power. This is where your vote can start to feel less like a choice and more like a political bargaining chip.
So you're probably wondering, hold on, isn't there a referee in all this? And yeah, you're right. The Election Commission's job is to conduct these by-polls, but their official role is just that, to run the election. So that poses a really critical question. If they start seeing a pattern of these strategic resignations, are they just supposed to keep organizing one vote after another, pretty much rubber stamping these political games? Because these games, well, they have consequences. This isn't just some abstract political maneuvering happening far away. It has a very real impact that goes way beyond the politicians involved. So let's talk about the price that we all end up paying.
First and foremost, let's talk about the obvious cost, the money. Each and every single by-election is paid for by us, the public. That's your money, and when these elections start happening over and over, that bill really adds up to a huge amount of public funds.
But honestly, that financial cost is just the tip of the iceberg. Think about it. That's money that could have been used for schools, for roads, for healthcare. And beyond that, there's the human cost. Voters get tired, they get frustrated from being called to the polls again and again. All this political maneuvering just eats away at our trust in the entire process. And it can create this toxic environment where the ruling party might be tempted to misuse state resources just to win at any cost.
And this brings us to the most personal part of the entire puzzle. It's about that promise, that contract between you, the voter, and the person you choose to represent you. It's all about your mandate.
This question really gets to the absolute heart of it. When you cast your vote, what are you actually giving that candidate? Are you entrusting them with the huge responsibility to serve your community for a full term? Or have you, without even knowing it, just handed them a stepping stone to advance their own career, even if it means ditching the very job you elected them to do?
Now look, the answers here aren't simple. They can be totally different from one place to the next. So instead of just giving you an answer, we want to empower you to find it for yourself. It's your turn to become the investigator.
And here's a super simple 3-step way to do it. First, do a little digging. Look up the by-elections in your area over the last, say, 10 years. Why did they happen? Were they for legit reasons, or were they strategic? Second, think about the cost. Weigh the money spent on those elections against what your community actually needs. And third, and this is the most important part, talk to people. Ask your neighbors, your friends, do they feel like all these extra elections have actually made our democracy stronger?
And so we come full circle, right back to where we started. By looking at the patterns, by weighing the costs, and by seeing the impact on your own community, you can start to solve this by-election puzzle for yourself. Because in the end, the only person who can truly answer this question is you.